Today, I am joined by one of the most talented young players in all of Australia, Port Melbourne Sharks' new signing, Dor Jok. Thank you so much for joining me today.
Thanks so much, man, for picking me as well to come on the interview.
We'll start with my first opener question I love to ask people. Just where did your passion and love for football first begin?
It goes way back, to be fair. I didn't really grow up in Australia. I'm obviously background in South Sudanese, and I grew up in Kenya actually, because obviously there was things going on back home, back in the days, and obviously you know, people flee the country, and my family ended up in Kenya. So yeah, I was born in South Sudan, but I was raised in Kenya since I was like a couple of weeks old. So I grew up there in Kenya my whole life, and grew up pretty much playing in the streets, really bare feet. Um, in the streets of LA. Like, I mean, you come from school and you just get out and you be playing in the streets until it gets dark. There was no light, so obviously you don't stop playing until it gets dark. So that's how where my love of football started. I mean, it's literally the national sport where that everyone loves over there. Of course, like you have the dream of wanting to play high one day, but growing up there, you didn't really have that opportunity to dream that way because there was no really people there to help you with those things. So it was obviously tough, but we didn't think about anything really. We enjoyed doing it every day, playing and having fun, right? I actually didn't start playing club football until I came to Australia. I came to Australia when I was 12 and a half, but almost 13. Um, Again, did the same thing, kind of played at the park with a few of the boys that I knew just for fun. And then I actually joined my first club when I was 16, almost 16. So 15, 16 is when I started playing it like competitively. And I remember going to a trial and I was asked opportunity to play. And first thing came to my head, I was just say striker. That's why I just said striker. I could have said anything, right? And I just said striker. And so that's when I kind of just started playing again. Kept playing for a club when I was 15, 16. But even you could see what at the start I really didn't. I was missing loads of the fundamentals of the game, like your first touch and all those things and stuff like because you grew up in the streets, you just played where you could. But when you go to a club football, that's a set up well. Um, these kids are all technical, and going in it was weird because obviously I didn't know I needed to learn all these things, right? So I was always kind of behind the game. I've always kind of been like that, but I've loved it that way because it's made me more hungry, and that's why probably the reason I've come as far as I am today so fast because of how much I know I need to get better, how much I know I need to get there and there, and so it's kind of giving me that hunger every time to just push myself and get further. Um, I mean, my first year under 15s I played was we had three strikers. To start with, I was in the bench the first half of the season. The second half of the season, I finished top scorer on the team and starting striker. Same thing, and then obviously going to the under 16s, I was a starter, and then I had a good year. So I've kind of played each year, and that was probably the best thing for me because I remember going from under 15, some boys got moved straight to 18s, and the boys that didn't get moved, wouldn't be happy about it. I wanted to go, I wanted to go. I didn't really bother because I was like, you know what, I still get to play, and I still get to improve, right? Because I think I was very aware from early on how much I needed to improve on, and that's why I was okay to make my way up slowly and just take it day by day, as long as I'm doing the right thing and I'm improving, and that was working right. Up to under 18s. Each year I was finishing top scorer and doing well. When I got to under 18s, actually, I got moved to a winger because of my pace. So I got moved to a winger because I'm very I can run a lot. So I got put on the wing just so I can track back, get up and down, and it was working until under 20s. And that's how when I go back, move back again to striker, and then from there, I play for the club. I actually play for EC Joondalup in Perth.
Finish! 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 Yes!
So I grew up in Perth in Australia here, and then couldn't quite break into the first team, even though I was dominating the training league each year. So I remember I had having to leave the club, and I ended up signing for a club called Coburn Soccer Club in Perth. Same Perth NPL. Ended up playing like played 3 games, scored 4 goals, and that's when I actually got called. I got Melbourne Knights got in contact with me. Melbourne Knights from Melbourne here, the NPL. I was 2021, but April. So I think it was almost halfway through the year here, pretty much halfway through the season. And for me over there, it was like the start of the season. And I've had to just leave Coburn after being there for 4 weeks, I think. I remember it was so hard because now football is starting to get really serious now, and obviously, I don't like disappointing people, but then the more you obviously play football, you realize like you have to think about your career, man. Like, it's not okay to disappoint people, but it's fine if you have to help your career out. And that's how I moved to kind of Melbourne Knights after that.
It's a good ball. It's Felipe Sanchez trying to get things moving. Here's Anthony Drizel. It's a great save. The rebound.
Dor Jok.
In fact, it's Dor Jok. My apologies.
Dor Jok, we spoke about him earlier. He's been absolutely fantastic.
Weird thing is, I've always known I wanted to be a professional footballer, but I was scared because at the time, obviously, I was 19, 20, and I'm like, mate, if I'm not playing at a high level at this age, I don't think there's a chance. But there was something in my heart that felt that I could make it because of my work ethic and what I can bring. I feel like the game has changed so much, and for strikers, I feel like almost any team would die to have my attributes, right? Big talk and run a lot and strong. So I feel like that's something you'd want as a team or as a club. I know I still have a lot to improve on, but I always felt like maybe I could. So I remember going to uni for 6 months and then didn't enjoy it, and I had to tell my family like I'm going to take football serious. And some of them won with it. A lot were against it actually. Maybe a few were with me, but I didn't let it bother me. I was like, you know what? End of the day, it's my life, man. Like, uni's not going anywhere, but career can leave. So why not give it a shot? Then that's how I ended up going to Coburn. Went from Coburn after doing well for 4 weeks, and then I had to leave and come to Melbourne Knights. So I signed for Melbourne Knights 2021. And I couldn't break into the first team quickly straight away. So I remember I played about 3 or 4 games in the under-20s to get minutes, and I remember scoring like 12 goals in those 3 or 4 games. Then that's when they were like, okay, maybe he's ready to get the debut, and I made my debut against South Melbourne at home. And I scored the only goal of the game. My debut, played 90 minutes. That game was really good. And then after that, it was a bit more up and down. I'll be coming off the bench, starting off the bench, and then COVID hit. And at that time, like, can't play. And funny thing, in Perth, season was going on. They finished the whole year because there was no COVID in Perth. No one was allowed to go to Perth. So they were chilling. But obviously over here in Melbourne, it was crazy. I couldn't play. And that's when I was honestly banging in sessions every single day. I would do 2, 3 sessions a day, doing running, doing football stuff, doing gym. I had some weights at home, so I'd take them to the park and I'd just bang out sessions, every single day. I felt really fit and really sharp. And obviously, actually got in contact. Someone called Emmanuel Sakai. He's actually my current agent. He got in contact with me. And he pretty much he actually spoke to me when I was in Perth before I left Perth. Because he got my name off of one of my mates that I knew, someone I knew in Melbourne. He just got me in contact with them, and he said, "I have a look at this lad here from Perth." And I remember when he called me at the time, I was coming to Melbourne already. So there's a guy that brought me to Melbourne here, so I couldn't obviously just go behind his back and speak to someone else. So I said, you know what, I can maybe check in a couple of months, see how things are going, we can talk again. And like, he actually checked in the right time, when COVID hit. Don't know what's going on. Don't know where I'm going to be playing my football next year. Season's cancelled. I'm just here training really and not knowing what's going on. I can't go back to Perth because of COVID. That's when he got in contact and just said, what are you doing? I said, honestly, I've got no clue. I'm obviously training each day, just stay fit, but I don't know what's going on. And that's when he's going, look, I can get you a trial with maybe an A-League club if you're interested. And then from then maybe you can think about maybe, I don't know, giving me a chance to manage you and help you out. And I said, look, I don't have an agent. Didn't know how agencies work anyways. I said, you know what? Of course I can. I was desperate to make it, man. I've always kind of been. So I said, this is like a opportunity of a lifetime. And that's when I took the opportunity. And he's gone to actually spoke to the miners and talked to Nick Montgomery about me. And they were like, look, how old is he? And they was like, he's only one. Well, he's only one means he can still play in the youth team. Let's see some of his videos. And I made like a 6-minute clip of just my season so far, some under-20s games, some first team game, gave it to them. They loved it. They're like, look, we can sign him straight away right now as a youth player and he can make his way into the first team. And My agent was like, well, that's something you can definitely consider. Spoke to him and I was like, mate, I'll do anything. Of course, I would do that. I'm not going to turn that down. So we're going to Zoom call with them. They told me exactly what they wanted from me. Told them what I'd, obviously do when I'm there. And they said that it would take me probably around 12 months to break into the first team. I told them it would take me 6 months. And my agent backed that up. I did it within 4 months when I got there. So I got there and I actually had it a bit tough at the start because you go into an environment where everyone's so good, either good or better than you. And most of them are better than me, Now, it was mostly technically because they were just very technical, and you think, oh my God, like the pressure's higher, all those sort of stuff. But I didn't. I think one of my other attributes as well as a footballer is my mindset. I've got a really strong mindset, and I always find a way to pull through things, even when they're hard. So I think that's what kind of kept me going. I thought, you know what, like it's the preseason. Season hasn't even started yet. Like I can make my way into it before I know it. I don't need to worry about nothing. Take it day by day, improve day by day. Things will fall into place. And honestly, yeah, things ended up falling into place, man. Ended up playing against Newcastle Jets, I think. In a friendly, I just their youth team, I just smashed them. And that's when, and I think Newcastle Jets first team have seen me and so, oh, I think this kid should be playing first team. So then got in contact with me, and they really, really wanted to sign me on an A-League contract. And obviously, the Mariners had their plan for me, but it wasn't to come that fast. And when they seen that, obviously, there was a chance I could head out. They didn't want to obviously lose the opportunity, so they told me, "Look, this is what we think. We've got our plan for you, but um, you just have to be patient." And I said, "Look, end of the day, I understand that, but I'm a footballer. I need to think about my career. And if someone obviously is that desperate to sign me, then it means that they'll want me." And that's when I ended up actually signing a scholar with the Mariners.
Looking to bundle his way through. Kresnar with the challenge. Clipped in towards Dor Jok! Who gives the Mariners surely the 3 points here today at Bloom Park? Every single player, coaching staff, support staff coming forward to celebrate that. And so late, Dor Jok has struck at the heart of the Wanderers here at Bloom. My.
And I turned down probably a better deal to stay at the Mariners because I felt like I owed them a lot. They brought me in when I had no one that wanted me at the time because obviously I didn't have any clubs and helped me become a better player. So I thought, you know what, like I feel at home here. I love the club. I love the coaches. Why not sign you? I signed a scholarship, and within literally a few weeks, not even, I made my debut in Perth, which is crazy. Yeah, and I've actually got a crazy story about that as well. I remember 2 days before I left Perth to go to Melbourne, I was watching Mariners against against Perth Glory in Perth at HBF Park. And I remember telling the boys that next time I come back to Perth, we're playing at HBF Park. And literally under 12 months later or 12 months later, I came back to Perth. And I was playing at HBF Park, but for Mariners. So it was pretty crazy too, obviously. And it shows that like the power of belief, right? That's what pretty much happened when I had that happen. So it was a proud moment just to obviously put some faith into my family and my friends. Especially part of some of my family members that didn't believe in sports, and I don't obviously blame them because where we come from, we don't believe in sports, man. Life is hard. You just want to survive, right? And if you've got the opportunity, because Australia is like a beautiful country. You've got everything here. You got the jobs and the schools and everything you need to have a good life, and it didn't feel like sports was the right way out. But I mean, I believed it and I made it work. And that's how I ended up getting at the Mariners, of course. Yeah, ended up making three appearances off the bench for the Mariners. Being on the bench so many times, occasions. Come on for maybe like 5 minutes, 6 minutes and all that. But it's a big deal for someone like me, right? It makes me happy. So it was always great to get that. And then preseason started. I ended up actually staying for the instead of going, I could get a break because at that time I had become an A-League player, so I could get time off. But I actually chose to stay back and play minutes with the youth team because I knew that would be better for my improvement, overall. I stayed back for another 6 weeks and played games with them, scored some goals, and literally I remember finishing not even finishing the season, and the first team had come back for preseason, and I'm going back to their preseason now. So now I'm doing a back-to-back preseason. And I did my preseason with the first team, of course. No, the coaches they kind of had a plan for me going to the new year in the preseason, and things were going well. Had a really good preseason, scored some goals, race against Melbourne City in the friendly, a few good performances, even against Victory and all that. So it was good. Now, and that's when I really noticed, well, like I've come a long way, man, and now I can fully say that I'm good enough to play in this league. I just need minutes now to kind of prove what I can do. Um, Obviously, had a really good preseason. Coaches are happy, and obviously, season started, and that's when everything kind of went back downhill, where I wasn't getting any minutes, and all those sort of stuff. I'm not gonna obviously get into details what happened, but yeah, it was tough. It was tough, obviously, because you're working hard. You think you're doing everything right, and people can see you're doing things right. And getting the opportunity that as a player that it does take a toll on you. But to be fair, I felt like I kept a pretty level-minded thing where I was just working hard every day, didn't complain, didn't whinge, came in and out, was always in there extra every day. One of the first day, probably the last day out. I'm not gonna lie, it was usually me and going out of the training ground, the last two players every day. Some will come. Sometimes I come to training midweek, and some things like people don't know about Greg as well. Like I'm coming to him with him, into training at the minus midweek when we have a day off and we do extras, or we could train in the morning, finish training around 1 p.m., go home, come back at like 4 p.m., do another session. Working finishing. He's working his crossing. I'm working my finishing. And he's also getting some finishing things. So all those sort of things, like working on them, and yeah, it's So yeah, it does obviously it does I would say it does hurt a little bit of course as a player when you're doing all those things and you don't see the reward coming. So it was tough, but end of the day the team was doing well. Um, but you felt like you could contribute a lot if you could get the opportunity. And I never got the opportunity. And then things that was completely out of my control, happened. Um, and I wasn't happy with the club, of course. That's when I kind of decided to part ways at the time. But it was it was still like a great experience with the club, man. Like I am so grateful to be there in the first place and become the player that I kind of am today in terms of how they helped me out. The likes of Montgomery and the club, like they helped me so much as a player. But end of the day, you get to realize football is not a lawyer's fault, right? Not everything is gonna always go your way, no matter how much you show your loyalty. Because I mean, I did show my loyalty at the start to stay in the club when I could have left, but end of the day, verbals aren't enough really. So I can, because people talk, right, but talk is cheap. Talk doesn't mean nothing if there's no actions to it, right? Yeah. So end of the day, yeah, I didn't feel like I got what I wanted at the end, but it's football, right? It's not personal. I don't take it personal. I'll never obviously hate anyone for it. It's football, man, and I move on with my. One thing for sure is I left the club with my hands held up very high, and I had my head up very high as well because I knew that I'd done everything I needed to do very well, to the best of my ability on a regular basis. I did even way more than I surprised myself if that's what I'm trying to say here. So I was very honestly, I left there with a smile on my face and knowing that I've inspired some young players, and that's not the end of the journey. That's just a little bump on the road. I know where I'm heading to, and honestly, like I mean, like only the sky's the limit for myself. I've got so much belief in myself. No one could even believe it. Things I see sometimes in my head. If I told you, you'd probably laugh, but that's how much I believe in myself, right? And if I didn't believe myself, promise you, I wouldn't be playing NPL. So let alone playing A League. And that's clearly what a good mindset can bring to someone, right?
Direction that Port Melbourne want to take this season. It looks like the top four might be a little bit off the pace at the moment. Dor Jok chests it down, takes a strike. That's brilliant from Dor Jok. Exquisite work in the top right corner. Pick that one out from Dor Jok, who's managed somehow.
Yeah, so obviously I left the club a bit late. Windows pretty much shut when I left, so I couldn't really sign for any other club. I had another interest in the A League, but I couldn't sign. because of the window. So we'll see what happens in June, anyways. But I chose, you know what, I can come here, play games NPL one. Oh, it's a good league, man. Good players, tough league, man, everything. There's no end of the day, the difference I see between NPL and A League is the professionalism, right? The full-time thing and all that. But I mean, generally, man, like being at Port Melbourne, sessions are great, Sessions are really good. You're training well, you're enjoying it. Your sessions is physical, it's very technical, you're enjoying it. So I've not felt like I've missing out on much. Maybe that professional side of things where you have everything for you and you're training every day and it's your job full time. But it's still good, man. I'm still grateful, very grateful for Port Melbourne. I'm very grateful, just to be able to keep doing what I love doing. And it doesn't matter where it's at. I'm still gonna do with my 100% effort. And so far, so good. Like, I'm scoring my goals. I'm enjoying myself. Good bunch of lads, good coach. I can't complain, right? And hopefully in the next couple of months, some good things will come from it. And I believe they will. I believe they will, and I can go wherever I go to, and I go do the same thing, if not even better. Yeah, I'm honestly, I believe one day me and Grant will play on the top of the game. So it's just gotta keep believing, man, keep working, because anything's possible. But yeah, sorry for the long chat. Anyways, that's just a bit of about me and how I got to where I am today.
I mean, I've got to say that's one of the most impressive and detailed answers I've ever gotten on this. But for you, when you were starting out, you kind of pretty much had a meteoric rise. You went from playing in Perth, getting a couple games in NPL, and then all of a sudden you've gone over to Melbourne Knights, they're a big club, playing games there, and then you have COVID, you get signed from the Mariners, you start, breaking through all these levels. You got an A-League debut in such a short period of time. How difficult was that for you off the pitch to adjust to? You go from having this sort of normal life to all of a sudden you're playing professional football, you're on TV, you got kids asking for autographs, you're in this full professional setting. Was that such a big change for your life? Or, you have a lot of belief and stuff. Was this just something that you expected along the way?
I'm not gonna lie, like as crazy as it might sound, like it didn't stress me or anything because before I became a professional footballer, I believed that I was a professional footballer. The way I live my life, the way I ate, the way I train. I've never had a sip of alcohol in my life. I don't go out. I don't drink. I live like a true professional, and it shows why I'm a good athlete because I've always kind of seen myself as a professional footballer because I've always seen, obviously, look, end of the day, the difference between me and a professional footballer sometimes was, before was the title. So I just kind of looked at, what, I am one. I am a professional footballer. So when the time came, of course, like it is it is a little bit hard to just do when things happen so fast because really and truly, I have not had many games in first team football. I had 4 games in the NPL Perth, and I left to Melbourne and only had like 5 games in the first team, and I went to Maryland. So everything, I've never had freaking 10 games. So everything was happening so fast, right? And this is like last year when I played Maryland 23. That's when I actually had many NPL first team games, right? And I had about I think 11 games. And then this year I've had like 9 or 8 so far. So it's like I haven't really had much game time in my career so far, but everything has happened so fast. And that's because like why I didn't take a big toll or let's say come as a big surprise to me was because I always had this big belief in my head. The things that have kind of happened in my career so far, I've seen them happening. I've pictured myself signing autographs. I've pictured myself taking pictures with fans, right? And not because I don't do it for because I want the fame and all that. That comes with it, right? But I know that's what comes with the lifestyle of being a professional footballer, right? So all these when they came, I kind of looked at I mean, it does kind of surprise you when it really happens, but obviously you kind of didn't know it was gonna happen because you believed it so much. When I'm believing something, it's not because it's cool to believe. Yes, it's cool, but you have to really know it's gonna happen. If you believe it's gonna happen, it will happen, and that's what I did there. So I think that's why I adjusted to the environment very easily and very very well because I knew like this is what I've been working for so long. This is what I believe. This is what I vision in my eyes and in my sleep every time. And when I've seen things, these are the sort of things I've seen happening in my career, and they're happening now. And yeah, sometimes it does disappoint you. For example, when I know that I didn't achieve exactly what I wanted to achieve, and that sometimes do I blame myself for it? No, I don't, because I've done everything that could have done in my power to make that happen. And not everything's going to be in my control. End of the day, I'm a player, and there's people that manage me as a player, and there's people that make those opportunities come true. So it doesn't matter sometimes how much work I can put in. If I'm not given that chance to make it happen, I can't do much about it. So honestly, I've got my head held so high up, if I'm being honest with you. And that's why I wasn't honestly worried even leaving that environment, because I know I'm going to back right at it in no time. I'm that confident. So yeah, and I'm going to make it happen one way or other.
And when you first actually made your professional debut for the Mariners, when you knew you were going on the pitch and you were going to achieve this dream of being a professional footballer, what was going through your head when you saw your number come up and you knew you were about to step on the pitch? Were you nervous about what you were going to do? Were you just happy because, this is what you worked hard for? And how do you think you went during that first ever match?
It was weird because usually when you see young players make the debuts, it's like, come in the last 5 minutes, maybe if you're lucky, 10. But I'm warming up, because in the second half, usually you'd be just warming up the whole time, just getting ready. First half, you can sit for about half the game, and then you can go start warming up. But second half, we just warming up, and I see the team manager call our S&C coach and says, Dor. And I've heard my name, but I'm trying to act. I have not heard anything because I did something wrong. It's like almost 25 minutes, pretty much 25 minutes to go. Like, and I'm getting called to come on. Like, there's no way. And it's called me, and Monty is just going, look, mate, this is your chance. You've earned to be here. You've earned this opportunity. I'm not giving it to you because you're from Perth. I'm giving it to you because you deserve to be here. And if it was just because you're from here, I will bring you the last 5 minutes. You're coming on after 25 because you deserve to play. So come on, do the right thing, work hard, and just score a goal if you can. And I said, of course. And I went on the pitch. And to be fair, that game was probably one of our poor performances as a team that season. I don't know if it was to travel to Perth or what it may be, but it was really poor performance from all of us. But honestly, surprisingly, actually, I had a pretty good performance that game. I came on, I worked myself off, worked hard, and I had some good moments as well in the game. And I remember even after the game, I had a chat with the coach, and he was going through my clips, and he was honestly really, really impressed and happy with my performance. And that's really a good thing to get. That's good feedback to get as a young player making your first team debut. It's good to get that feedback from the coach, because I mean, when I first seen my name come up and they calling my name out in the whole stadium, you're a bit nervous because you got everyone in the crowd there cheering on your family and stuff. So I was a bit nervous, but then as soon as I got on the pitch, everything just kind of blocks off the noise, the people. You don't hear nothing. All you hear is your teammate and your coach on the sideline. And that's all that I was hearing. So it didn't really bother me. I was just, I think after the first 30 seconds, when that nervous 30 seconds is gone, just excited to be on the pitch. Really, I just want to get on the ball. I just want to do things. I was really excited. So nah, man, no, there was a bit of nerves at the top, but as time went on, it was good. And it was good nerves at the end of the day, because you've worked so hard for this opportunity, and you just can't believe it's here. So it felt like a dream, but I was just, it was a dream come true, really. So um one of the best moments really in my career so far, and I'm gonna keep working to make even better moments than that.
So you've now recently signed for Port Melbourne in the NPL. They're a pretty good side. They've got a mixture of young players as well as experienced players who've got some A-League experience. How have you found your time at the club so far?
Oh no, man, honestly, better. I wouldn't say better than I thought, but even way better than I thought, right? Because before I signed for them, it wasn't when I had the decision that I'm gonna play MPL for the next couple of months and see how things go. I wasn't fussed about the money or the size of the club. I was fussed more importantly about the football. And I seen a few of the games, and I was really impressed with how they play football. I was like, that can suit my football so much, right? And also where I know I'm going to be playing for some game time as well. So it was kind of like a no-brainer. And also the coach that was there was my ex-Melbourne Ice coach. He's like one of the assistant coaches. So I don't know. He heard very fast, man. Word gets around very quick, right? He heard that I was on the verge of leaving the club. I wasn't happy with all those sort of stuff. They great got in contact. He was like the first person to kind of talk to me. I mean, other clubs came for me after, but I can't made my mind up. I'd go there. And honestly, look, with all the things they said about how they play and the style of football they play and the style of trainings and all that, mate, everything was even better than I thought. Been honestly, I'm not gonna lie to you, I've loved every minute of being there. Training wise, it's been great. Games have obviously been up and down, in terms of that, but we're still playing good football, man. We're still doing the principles of what we want to do. We're just conceding a lot of goals, but that's gonna come with time anyways. But in terms just of my football, I'm enjoying it, right? I really am. I'm enjoying the trainings, I'm enjoying the game, the coaching and the boys. It's been good. It's been good. So I can always, no matter what happens, stay or go, I'm gonna always kind of have them in my heart. It's been a good, I've loved my time so far here. So
And it's your second time in Melbourne, but your first time in Melbourne was very different. As you mentioned, COVID pretty much started almost as soon as you got there, and everywhere was in lockdown and you couldn't really experience it. But now Melbourne's a different place. It's no more COVID, no more lockdown. So how are you experiencing actually living in Melbourne this second time around now that you can do things?
oh man, it's a lot better. It's a lot better. I mean, first of all, I'm coming. Um, Last time when I was coming, I had to find a place to stay. Now I can just stay with my sister. I've got a sister in Melbourne, so I'm staying with her. I'm coming with much more football experience. Um, when I first came to Melbourne, felt like it was a big step. Of course, you come into a better league, better players, everything. Now I'm coming back, not obviously disrespectful to the league or anything, but I believe that, and I'm one of the top players that can play in this league. So, you come back with that experience and that belief now and that confidence that you can do well here and you can enjoy yourself. It makes your experience a lot easier. And also the experience of knowing that I've played in this league before as well. That also gave me the comfortability coming in as well, because I could have also, worst comes to worst, I could have also played in Sydney's NPL as well. But generally I prefer Melbourne NPL. So I thought, because I'm a very physical player, and I feel like if I need to get my physicality even better, I need to go to Melbourne. Sydney's a good league, very good league, still physical, but it's mostly very technical. But Melbourne is a mixture of that, technical and physical. So I thought this is probably the place I want to play football here for the next few months. If that's going to get me ready for the next step, I need to be playing here. So, yeah, nah, it's been better than the first one for sure. Because again, like you said, no COVID, playing free now, and yeah, so it's been good.
And even though you did have a pretty, rapid rise through the ranks and got that A-League experience, you did mention that it went a bit sour, things didn't go quite as you liked. So having that mixture of the good experience getting the first team football and obviously, the disappointment of maybe not getting as many games as you should have and all that sort of thing, how do you think that made you a better professional footballer from having that experience under your belt?
Oh man, he opened my eyes up to a different side of football or a different side of professional football, right? Because growing up, or when you see, even not just growing up, but even if you're not in a professional environment, you will never know what it's like, right? You just see the 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 lifestyle, the games on TV, the fame that you might think there is, maybe the money, but you don't see what goes on behind closed doors, right? And that's probably almost 80% of it or 70% of it. It's things behind the politics and all that stuff. So football. And it shows, I mean, look, kind of playing football so far before I even became professionals, I thought it's gonna be football, just how good you are. And then but it gets that level and it's a lot more things are involved to it, man. It's not just about your football ability. There's the negotiations and politics and all those sort of stuff. And that's football, man. That's football. It's never gonna change. If anything, it will probably get worse. And he kind of probably opened my eyes up more, made me more aware of the decisions I make, made me more even mentally strong, more mentally stronger than I was before, because now I've gone through this kind of like a hard patch in my career so far. A big bump. It's probably the biggest bump so far. And honestly, it hasn't affected me one bit whatsoever. I've kind of just learned so much from it. And would I change what's happened? I would not change a bit, because guess what? I'd rather it happens to me early in my career than later on in my career, right? So it's better that it's happened now, and I can kind of move on knowing what to expect. in a situation like that if it was to ever happen again, and how to go on about it and maybe better this time, right? So no, it's taught me that. It's taught me a lot in terms of being more aware of your decisions, your environment, um, being picking on things a lot on and seeing what's right and wrong, any dodgy things going on, or just general really mentality kind of thing really. So it's made me more mentally strong as a player and everything. So it's good, and it gives you that extra bit of hunger as well to want to prove people wrong, to want to do so well for yourself and for ones that will believe in you, right? Because um when you have someone that don't believe in you, it's okay because at the end of the day, not everyone's gonna believe in you. But turn that person into a believer, and if you don't, maybe it's just how that you made it so far. So at the end of the day, it's made me more hungry. I've always been a hungry kind of like a player, but now I've got much more in my heart that I really want to prove to myself, prove to the people that don't believe in me, and make things happen because I know I will make it happen. Sooner or later, it will happen. Like I'm that confident, and as long as I stay fit, it's all that matters really. I think that's the biggest thing in my head. I think as long as I'm fit enough to be able to work hard and chase my dream, I am well and truly right on the way to making it. So I think yeah, just that's those things I probably think I've learned from it so far.
Now, I've been lucky enough to chat to a lot of good footballers in my time, and also I've been lucky enough to chat to a lot of South Sudan international footballers. I understand if
Yeah.
this isn't, something that you can answer, but I've noticed a lot of players in Australia, particularly the NPL, are contacted by the South Sudan national team. There's a few South Sudan internationals in the NPL Victoria. Kenny Athiu is one I know well who's playing down there. If a national team call up come your way, is that something that you would go for, or is that something that maybe you might wait till a bit later on in your career? Are you focused on maybe playing for the Socceroos with Garang, or would you absolutely take a South Sudan national team call up with both hands? Have you had any interest even in the past?
Yeah, I do. I still do at the moment. Yeah, so of course I've had the South Sudanese national team come for me, and I'm proud to be from South Sudan, of course. And like if anyone was to ever ask where you from, I'm always gonna raise that flag very high because that's my country. But at the moment, obviously, I've not kind of accepted it because I want to keep focusing on what I can do because I feel like I can achieve a lot more if I can just kind of focus on my career here at the moment first. Go as far as I can. I always believe that's my country. If I always want to play for them, I can always play for them, right? But um, I also, believe I can also play for Socceroos too. So, um, why not say yes? Nine is very high, and of course, playing for South Sudan, that's a great achievement. Like that's your country, man. So at the end of the day, it's not. I mean, it's not a bad achievement. It's a great achievement. So, but I think like going back to that belief, I've written things down, man, and until I achieve them, I think I'm gonna have to keep going there and keep chasing those goals that I've written down. And then once, end of the day, look, writing a goal down, it doesn't always necessarily mean you achieve it. But it doesn't also necessarily mean you want to achieve it. So why not go for it? So and I've got these things that I want to achieve and make happen. And until then, I'm gonna keep kind of chasing them and see what happens really because it's a long career, man. It's a long and a short career end of the day, but I'm gonna take my chances and try to see what I can do with what I have.
Well, that was a very good answer. And speaking of achievements, we're almost at the halfway point of 2022. We're in May tomorrow, so it's
Yeah,
getting very quickly. What are you
yeah.
personally looking to achieve on and off the pitch for the rest of 2022? What can we expect to see from you if everything goes correct?
Oh man, look, I'm obviously at the end of the day, nothing is always guaranteed in your life or in your career so far. But I'm obviously looking to be getting back into professional football by mid-year, the midway of the year. I believe I can make it happen, and hopefully it does go that way. I think so. If I do have the performances to back it, and I've been doing well, I can't lie. It's almost like I even feel a better player than I was at the Mariners, but probably because I'm playing so many games, right? And I'm enjoying my time. So that's also kind of helped me. So yeah, I think that's probably it's my goal was to make sure I get back to professional football by at least mid-year. It doesn't matter where it's at. here in Australia, in Europe, wherever it may be. Hopefully it happens that way. But that's probably one of my goals I'm still trying to achieve. And of course, like also keep helping the club that I'm at the moment because I'm like I said, I'm super grateful to be here with them and get the opportunity by them. Look, we all have egos as humans, but there's times we you want to chuck them away, and just because I come from an A-League environment does not mean this is a small level. It doesn't mean I can just disrespect the club or people or whatever it may be. So I'm always going to say how grateful I am to Port Melbourne and obviously being here and them taking me as one of their players. And I hope I can just kind of score more goals with them and help them more as a team and as a club. And hopefully by the time maybe I'm gone, the club's in a better position than they are right now. And that would obviously leave my mark a bit at the club, and hopefully they can see what I brought to them.
Personally, it's been great seeing you, get some regular game time at Port Melbourne. And I hope I wish you all the best with achieving those goals and I hope you achieve them. I personally believe you can achieve them because you've got the talent. But thank you so much for joining me today and sharing your story. It's been an absolute pleasure.
Thanks so much, man. I appreciate that as well. Again, I talk quite a lot sometimes, but that's how I talking about. No, I really appreciate that, man. I appreciate the chat and for picking me to be on your interview today.
This video is sponsored by Arrow Sport. Go to the link in the description and the friendly team at Arrow Sport will help you create your own football dream jersey. Whether it's starting from scratch or using one of their many templates on their website, creating a jersey with Arrow Sports is easy and prices start from just $50. Go to www.arrowsport.com.au and make your football kit dreams become a reality.